Dow down more than 500 points as stocks sink amid rising Treasury yields and a Goldman earnings miss. All three major U.S. stock benchmarks were trading sharply lower Tuesday afternoon, with losses led by the technology-laden Nasdaq Composite Index, as the high-growth tech sector fell under pressure from climbing Treasury yields and investors began digesting a busy week. For company earnings, a blockbuster tech deal was also in the spotlight after Microsoft Corp. MSFT said it had reached an agreement to acquire Activision Blizzard Inc. ATVI in an all-cash deal valued at $68.7 billion. What are stock indexes doing? The Dow Jones Industrial Average DJIA dropped 523 points, or 1.5%, to about 35,389. The SP500 SPX was down almost 78 points, or 1.7%, at about 4,585. The Nasdaq Composite COMP fell 339 points, or 2.3%, to 14,554. Last week, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, SP500 and Nasdaq Composite each lost ground, with the tech-heavy Nasdaq now down 5% for the year. What's driving market? Stocks were trading sharply lower as Treasury yields rose in anticipation of the Federal Reserve tightening monetary policy this year. We're looking at a year of a totally different monetary environment, said Sam Solem, portfolio manager for Intrepid Private Wealth, in a phone interview Tuesday. Everyone is trying to digest what 3 to 4 Fed rate hikes look like this year. The yield on the 10-year Treasury note BX TMUBMUS 10Y was trading around 8 basis points higher Tuesday afternoon at about 1.87%, its highest level in about 2 years, according to FactSet data. The yield on the 2-year Treasury note BX TMUBMUS 02Y, which are more sensitive to Fed policy expectations, shot up 8 basis points to about 1%. Yield-sensitive tech and other growth stocks were weighing on the Nasdaq, but it is not all doom and gloom out there, because MA activity is going well, and the ongoing vaccination efforts by Western governments means the soft patch in US and global data could be short-lived, said Fawad Razaqzada, analyst at Think Markets, in a note. Information technology was showing some of the biggest declines among the SP500 index's sectors Tuesday afternoon. According to FactSet data, tech was down 2.2%, while the financial sector was off 2.1%. Goldman Sachs Group Inc. GS on Tuesday said its fourth quarter profit fell 13%, missing Wall Street estimates. In a choppy quarter for the Wall Street firm, shares of Goldman were down around 6.6%, leading afternoon losses for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, a blue-chip gauge of the U.S. stock market. In U.S. economic data, the New York Fed's Empire State Index of Business Conditions nosedived to minus 0.7 in January from 31.9 in the prior month, reflecting fresh strains from the Omicron virus and ongoing supply chain bottleneck. That's a big miss, said Solem, and a sign that growth is slowing. Crude oil prices CL00, meanwhile, traded at their highest level since 2014 amid unrest in the Middle East after Houthi rebels in Yemen launched a drone attack on a key oil facility in Abu Dhabi. The United Arab Emirates is OPEC's third-largest producer. West Texas Intermediate crude for February delivery CLG22 rose 1.3% Tuesday to settle at $84.94 a barrel, after gaining 6.2% last week. I expect energy prices to stay high and that should benefit energy equities this year, Solem said. The SP500's energy sector XX SP500 was up 0.8% in Tuesday afternoon trading, while the other index's other 10 sectors were all down. According to FactSet data, the U.S. stock market has fallen lately largely for reasons of psychology, according to George Ball, chairman of Sanders Morris Harris. The market has been fully priced, or even overextended, for well over a year now, said Ball, in a phone interview Tuesday. Investors are now adjusting the composition of the portfolios partly on fear of a more aggressive Fed. Whether that proves economically significant or not, it's not the impact of the Fed itself, he said. It's the fear of what an investor thinks other investors will read into the tea leaves. Which companies are in focus? In its biggest ever acquisition, Microsoft MSFT said it would pay $95 per Activision ATVI share to create the world's third biggest gaming company measured by revenue, behind Tencent and Sony. Microsoft shares fell around 1.9%, while Activision surged about 26.5%. Other video game companies also jumped, with Electronic Arts Inc. EA up 3.9% and Take-Two Interactive Software Inc. TTWO rising 1.4%. Shares of Charles Schwab Corp. SCHW fell 3.6% after the online brokerage reported earnings and revenue that came in below Wall Street forecast. Shares of Plexus Corp. PLXS dropped 8% after the electronic manufacturing services company warned that it will miss fiscal first quarter profit and revenue guidance provided in October because of unanticipated supply chain challenges that worsened in the finals weeks of the quarter. How are other assets faring? The ICE US Dollar Index DXY, a measure of the currency against a basket of 6 major rivals, rose 0.5%. Gold futures GC00 GCG22 edged 0.2% lower to settle at $1,812.40 an ounce. The stocks Europe 600 XX SXXP closed 1% lower, while London's FTSE 100 UKX fell 0.6%. The Shanghai Composite COMP rose 0.8%, while the Hang Seng Index HSI fell 0.4% in Hong Kong, and the Nikkei 225 JP declined 0.3%. Steve Goldstein contributed to this article.